the end of the road for controversial Malesela Teffo as an advocate after being struck off the roll of legal practitioners. The Higher Court in Pretoria delivered the judgment earlier today. Teffo had 22 complaints levelled against him, including intimidating and harassing the police and fraud, amongst others. Our reporter Heidi Giokos has been following this story for some time now. Heidi, Malesela Teffo kind of appeared in a flash and made quite a splash when we first started reading about him, obviously being connected to such a high-profile case. And then these complaints against him hit the headlines as well. And to a certain extent, it all got wrapped up very quickly. What can you tell us about these allegations that he was facing?
Yes, so I think it's quite a significant day because the Legal Practice Council had received over 22 complaints related to Malesela Teffo. And as you rightfully say, he was legal representative for accused 1 to 4 in the Senzo Meyiwa trial, and that's how we all really got to know him. But he was facing charges and complaints of misconduct, misappropriation of funds, fraud, disrespect, and not acting the way a legal practitioner should act. So the Legal Practice Council had received these complaints. It filed an application to the North Gauteng High Court, and today was judgment where two justices ordered that Malesela Teffo must be struck off the roll. He does not act the way a legal practitioner should act. He is found guilty of misappropriating funds, which basically means that he would get money from clients and say, pay me in advance and then I will render the services, and he never rendered the services. And we're not talking about small money here. We're talking about thousands of rands with a number of clients that he did this to. And the court finding that he used his power and advantage as an attorney to get money from clients and not rendering a service. This, of course, bringing the courts into question, bringing the legal fraternity into question, because this is not how legal practitioners should work. Therefore, he's been struck off the roll. He needs to surrender all his legal enrollment documents, and he cannot act as a legal practitioner. Let's listen to what one of the justices said in this judgment.
The following order is made. 1. The respondent, Advocate Malesela Teffo, is hereby removed from the roll of legal practitioners. 2. The respondent must surrender and deliver his certificate of enrollment as a legal practitioner to the registrar of this honorable court. 3. In the event of the respondent failing to comply with the terms of this order, detailed in paragraph 2, within 2 weeks from the date of this order, the sheriff of the district in which the certificate is be authorized and directed to take possession of the certificate to hand it to the register of the honorable court. The respondent is prohibited from handling or operating on his banking accounts used in receiving monies for the client. 5. Johan van Staden, the director of the Gauteng Provincial Office of the applicant or his successor as such, in his capacity as such, be appointed as a curator, bonus, to administer and control the banking accounts of the respondent, including accounts relating to insolvent and deceased estate and any estate under curatorship connected to the respondent's practice as a legal practitioner, and including, if applicable, also separate banking accounts opened and kept by the respondent at the Bank of the Republic of South Africa.
Okay, Heidi, he's been struck off the roll. What happens next? Obviously, the LPC, one would think, would be taking over his bank accounts.
Yes, that's exactly what's going to happen now. The curator, who is indeed the director of Gauteng LPC, Johan van Staden, he has actually been appointed as the curator, and he will take over all bank accounts that Malesela Teffo used while he was practicing. The curator will take over and perhaps try to recover some funds. I'm not really sure how the process works. courts in terms of the clients that have not been paid back their money after there was no service that was rendered from Malesela Teffo. What's also crucial here is that all legal documents need to be handed over to make sure that Teffo understands that he cannot act as a legal practitioner. So the LPC will be moving in on that. Before we listen to what the LPC has to say about that, we understand that Malesela Teffo has 15 days to appeal. Whether or not he wants to appeal, that's of course up to him, but he'll have 15 days from today to do so. What's interesting here is that the LPC says that should Malesela Teffo want to appeal this specific order, the LPC will then head to the court and say that the order should remain in place despite the fact that Malesela Teffo wants to appeal. And should he want to practice again, that might only happen if it happens in the next 4 to 5 years, because he can approach the courts in 4 to 5 years and say, I have been rehabilitated, here is the proof, I've done what I can to be a better legal practitioner, to be honest, not to be disrespectful towards my legal counterparts. So that will be interesting to see whether or not he does do that. But let's listen to what the LPC has to say in terms of their next move and those bank accounts.
Firstly, he is required to hand over his certificate of enrolment. There's a specific period in which he has to present it to the court, failing which the sheriff can be instructed then to take possession thereof. Then there's also a curator bonus appointed. In this instance, I have been appointed as a curator. I am therefore in a position now to take control of the banking accounts that he used for purposes of receiving the money from those clients, and then also in general in relation to his practice. That will then entail that one will start with the process to determine where those client files are, and then to take that into possession and then to liaise with the clients in that there are no instructions and those matters will not receive any further attention.
Heidi, before I let you go, any word from the man himself?
He was not in court today, which was quite surprising because one would think they would want to hear this particular judgment given the impact and the magnitude of this judgment. He was not in court today, and we've been told to give him space and time as, of course, he wants to discuss things with his lawyer, and we'll maybe hear in the next day or two if he'll be appealing. So no concrete message coming from Malesela Teffo. He said we should just wait and give him time.
Interesting story indeed. Thank you so much, Heidi Giokos, bringing us up to speed on that.